Now at 9, the state executes a Missouri death row inmate tonight.
Donald Trump wants to lure foreign companies to the U.S., and Kamala Harris has an idea to bring back Roe v. Wade. I'm Rebecca Castor in Washington with the latest promises we're hearing from the campaign trail.
Plus, the Quapaw Nation kicks off a special class with the goal of keeping the tribe's native language alive.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The state of Missouri executes Marcellus Williams by lethal injection shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court rejects a request to delay the execution. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Williams had maintained his innocence in the 1998 stabbing death of Felicia Gale in St. Louis. He was pronounced dead at 6:10 p.m. this evening. Earlier efforts to halt the execution were denied yesterday by the Missouri Supreme Court and Republican Governor Mike Parson. His execution is the 3rd in Missouri this year and among 5 taking place nationwide across a 7-day span. A Pittsburgh resident believes her lease is not set for renewal because she reported mold concerns at her home. She says she has fought the mold issue for years, with KOAM even reporting on the problem back in 2019. KOAM Samantha Walker sat down with the resident to learn more about why she believes she's not being allowed to stay.
When I go to my work and I hug the kids when they come in the school and they give me a hug and they say, "Miss Ledbetter, your clothes stink," that's a problem. It's a problem. And I just laugh it off, and then I go in my office and I sit and cry because I'm disgusted.
When Susan Ledbetter moved into her home at the Pittsburgh Highland Housing Development 6 years ago, she believed it would be a place to make great memories with her family. But she says for years now, she struggled with mold issues. Ledbetter says she reported the mold problems every time, both to the previous and the current property management companies. She says when she reported her concerns to the regional property manager, she received back a text saying, "Not mold again," with a crying face emoji.
Every time I walk into the house and get a migraine, I know the mold is back. When my daughter walks in and instantly starts hacking and coughing, we know the mold is back.
In August, Ledbetter says the mold was the worst it has ever been. The property owner moved her into a hotel for a week, as even her floors had to be replaced. Soon after she moved back into her home, she says she received a notice that her lease is no longer being renewed. Ledbetter believes it's because she has consistently reported the issues with mold.
They don't want to renew the lease when they already sent me. They've already invited me to stay. You see this? They've already invited me to stay. And then they're taking it away. So there's so many things wrong with this.
We reached out to the Moline Management Company, who manages the development, for a statement. The CEO says any mold issues at the development are resolved. He says the company is not the true owners of the property, and he declined to provide further information about the ownership. For now, Ledbetter says that she and her teen daughter will have to live apart until they can find a new home. She says other tenants have similar concerns, but are now fearful to speak up. Ledbetter says she's concerned for whoever moves in after her.
People say, "Why don't you just leave?" Because why is it that people just let people continue to walk all over them and get away with something? They're a multi-million-dollar company. This is nothing for them. They are bullying me. They're making me leave. Because why? Because I asked them to fix something. I've been asking them for years. If they would have taken care of it years ago, we wouldn't be sitting here. But they didn't take care of it.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Now, we reached out to the city of Pittsburgh and were told they have not received previous reports of mold at the development. Since then, Ledbetter says she reached out to the city commissioners, the community development and housing director, and the Pittsburgh Housing Authority. She says she is looking at her legal options to try and make sure this does not happen to other tenants. Well, search and rescue crews in Berry County respond to an alert of 2 adults lost in part of the Mark Twain National Forest. The alert came in just after 1 this morning. Search and rescue from Central Crossing Fire Protection District responded with equipment and a search and rescue canine to the Piney Creek Wilderness area of the park. Crews located the pair at around 5:40 this morning, where they were escorted back to safety. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, and it turned out to be a decent Tuesday for us today. A lot of clouds, some light random showers. 73 was our high. Average high is 79 degrees, so a pretty good chunk below where we should be for this time of the year. 60 in Joplin, 57 in Pittsburgh. You can see most of us upper 50s to lower 60s right now, but our temperatures over the next couple days, they warm up a bit. A little bit of sunshine, so we get back to where we should be for this time of the year. About 77, 78 for a high on Wednesday, and much of the same as we get into Thursday as well. We've had some light showers. We have another batch of light showers, which is rotating in Fort Scott over toward Nevada. These will push through, and then everything will pretty much dissipate the rest of the night. Could see a little bit of patchy fog. We'll be talking about that, plus what's down the road here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. A major piece of road work appears to be nearing a finish line. Crews have been busy widening Connecticut Avenue in Joplin from 2 lanes to 5, with walking paths on both sides from 32nd to 38th Street. The project stems from the passage of the capital improvement sales tax passed by voters in 2004 and renewed in 2014 and 2024. Completion of the project is expected by mid-November. Quapaw Nation kicks off the first day of the tribe's language classes today. KOAM's Melissa Alexis spoke with members of the tribe about the importance of keeping the Quapaw language alive.
Mary Jacobs, the instructor of the Quapaw language class, is starting her class off by teaching pronunciation.
So like instead of E being E, it would be an I.
She hopes through her teaching this language, more members of the tribe will be able to express themselves in the language, especially during ceremonies and prayer.
Our children, as they grow up in this language, that they'll be able to speak it as they walk through the door, and that would be their first instinct. Instead of saying hello, they would say "Haway."
To be able to speak with fellow tribal members, or even people who are not tribal in Quapaw, just because it feels really empowering.
Taya Deirdroff, a student of the Quapaw language class, says learning the language helps preserve the culture.
It's the ultimate vessel of our culture. I mean, you know, things come and go, all the things around you will eventually deteriorate, but as long as, I mean, the oral tradition is like one of the oldest things in human history.
It's one of the things that cannot be taken away.
One of her goals of teaching this language class, she wants the language to be passed down to future generations and says that learning the language can help younger generations connect with their culture.
Obviously, I'm touched by it, but to hear my children's talk in the language is absolutely amazing.
The Quapaw Language Department will be offering both online and in-person Quapaw language classes. Reporting in Quapaw, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Quapaw is considered a dormant language, so no one speaks it fluently. Now, one of the goals of the classes is to build towards fluency. Coming up, a hefty donation will help teachers at Joplin's McKinley Elementary buy supply. Awareness Month, and the American Cancer Society is encouraging men to know their number. September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. About 300,000 new cases are expected to be diagnosed this year. And a new campaign from the American Cancer Society is encouraging men to know your score. That is the score or number that comes with PSA testing. Stephanie Stahl explains.
It's a scary thing, when you get that diagnosis.
Michael Nutter, the former mayor of Philadelphia, talking about his battle with prostate cancer that included surgery in 2020.
Talking about male, function and all of these kinds of issues. And, quite honestly, Stephanie, when it all came down to it, I just said, well, I want to live.
In addition to teaching and consulting, Nutter is also working with the American Cancer Society to help raise awareness with a new campaign called Know Your Score.
Not just what the Phillies or the Eagles or the Sixers or the Flyers are doing, but there's another score, which is your PSA. And you need to know that number.
A PSA blood test is the recommended screening for prostate cancer, which when found early is highly treatable.
When I got the call, the doctor said stage 3 prostate cancer.
Former NBA basketball star Alonzo Mourning is featured in the new PSA.
This Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, know your score. Finding prostate cancer early could be life-saving.
But after decades of decline, late-stage prostate cancer cases are on the rise. For black men, they're 70% more likely to develop prostate cancer compared to white men and twice as likely to die. It's unclear exactly why.
Black men in particular are reluctant to seek medical treatment for a variety of reasons.
The former mayor hopes to change that trend by sharing his story of survival. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Well, the American Cancer Society recommends men talk to a doctor about screenings. For most men, that should start at age 50 and earlier if they are at high risk. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, Joplin High School softball hosts Neo's show. John Dales has those stories and more later in sports.
Well, of course, kind of a gloomy day outside for us today. A lot of clouds, some on and off showers, which we need. They've been very light across the region, but still be careful out there. A few wet little roads. Nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. We are looking downtown, northeast through downtown. 60 in Carthage, Neosho 61, Anderson 64. We have Miami 65, Pittsburgh 57, and Independence is sitting at 61 degrees. We've had some bands of light little showers and sprinkles kind of work through. We do have another band which is working into our northern counties at this time. A little bit heavier of a shower once you get toward Fort Scott, over toward Nevada, and these will continue to drop through as we go through the next couple hours. And then after that, we look pretty good. All the bigger thunderstorms will stay down to our south, the east central parts of Oklahoma, as this wave rotates through. Now behind it, we still have our upper level winds out of Canada, meaning it ushers in that more fall-like air mass that we have been seeing over the past couple days. Dropping south, we have tropical storm Helene, which we are also tracking to hopefully get a little bit of moisture from her as we get later on in the week. Helene clocking winds 60 miles per hour, will soon be Hurricane Helene once it gets past Cancun, Category 1 in about 36 hours, and then a Category 2, possibly 3, before it makes landfall in the panhandle of Florida. And then this moisture kind of lifts up and then starts to advect back toward the west as we get into Friday and Saturday. Also, another interesting little note here. So we have our hurricane here. This is called a Fujiwara, which we don't see very often, but if you take a center point, these two systems will kind of rotate around each other. So we're seeing that effect as we get into Friday, and then this area of low pressure kind of absorbs all that moisture. Here's the bad news. We need it to move a little bit farther toward the west for us to benefit from it. As of right now, that rain gets so close into our eastern counties on Friday, hit and miss showers Friday night into Saturday. If this could shift a little bit farther west, we could all get rain, but looking at the cycling weather pattern, I think this is a pretty accurate depiction of what is going to happen. So slight chances for rain, but of course something we'll keep our eyes on as we go through the next few days. All right, any showers we have out there right now, these are going to be gone shortly. A little bit of fog builds in, mid 50s, overnight lows, back near 70 by noon. I think most of us will get 77, 78 degrees for a high tomorrow, and then we back down into lower 50s tomorrow night. Day planner for you Wednesday, 55 in the morning, 73 by noon. High temp, looks good, 78 degrees, 77 on Thursday. We're going to keep slight chances for rain on Friday and Saturday. We may get missed. We'll just keep our eyes on that and hope that it shifts a little farther west. Temperatures back to 81 on Monday. But overall, over the next 10 days, temperatures look fantastic.
Hard to believe it was so hot over the weekend when you look at the temperatures now.
We had record highs late last week. Remember Friday when we were out, it was awful.
And it got hotter during the 6th, yeah. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, teachers at Joplin's McKinley Elementary School will find it a little easier to buy school supplies thanks to a donation. The school gets a $3,000 check from the Subaru Loves Learning Initiative, courtesy of Frank Fletcher Subaru. The money will be shared among teachers to spend on supplies from select vendors associated with the program. Well, coming up, the high cost of losing weight.
The CEO of the company that makes popular weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wegovy found himself in the hot seat during a congressional hearing. I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington with details on that story coming up.
Trying to lose weight? It will cost you in America. A Senate Health Committee, led by Bernie Sanders, questions the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy over the drug's sky-high prices in the U.S. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has more.
A bipartisan Senate committee grills the CEO of Novo Nordisk over the high prices of its popular weight loss drugs, Ozempic and Wegovy.
The simple truth is that we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, and that is a major factor in the healthcare crisis we experience.
Even with insurance, Americans typically pay triple to quadruple more than people in other countries like Canada and Germany. Committee Chair Senator Bernie Sanders demanded change.
Treat the American people the same way that you treat people all over the world. Stop ripping us off.
Committee members from both parties blamed a complicated U.S. drug system and corporate greed.
You, under our system, are able to charge whatever you believe the market will bear and get as big a profit as you could possibly get.
Drug makers argued years of research are expensive.
It's really the cost of the diseases that's breaking the system.
The CEO of Novo Nordisk said the company is spending $30 billion to increase production and access to the wildly popular drugs, and noted Ozempic now costs 40% less than it did when it first came on the market.
What I can promise is that Novo Nordisk will remain engaged and work with this committee on policy solutions to address the structural issues that harm patients and drive up cost.
Last year, a poll found 54% of adults who used a GLP-1 drug found the cost difficult to afford. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
California's Attorney General announces a lawsuit against ExxonMobil. The suit alleges Exxon engaged in a decades-long deception about whether the plastics it manufactured can be recycled. An Exxon spokesperson responded in part by saying, quote, "For decades, California officials have known their recycling system is not effective. They failed to act, and now they seek to blame others." Well, Girard students show off their business skills at the local farmers market. We take you there after the break. That's what 12 students were making and selling at the Girard Farmers Market this afternoon. Students are part of an entrepreneurship program that started with teaching them the process of getting a bank loan and ends with hopefully a profit for each of them at their own lemonade stand.
Lemonade Day is actually a nationwide curriculum that we've partnered with Network Kansas to teach here in Girard, and it uses the basic setup of a lemonade stand to teach the business concepts. And we're hopeful that what they've learned throughout this session and today as they're actually executing their business, that they'll be able to recreate on any given day in their front yard, and they'll know how to make money now by operating their own business.
Well, each student received a $25 loan. After paying that back, what's left from their lemonade sales is theirs to keep. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. Donald Trump lays out his plan for boosting American manufacturing, and it comes with a twist. Plus, President Biden addresses the United Nations General Assembly for the final time of his presidency.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. 6 weeks until Election Day, and both candidates are making bold promises on the campaign trail. Today, Donald Trump announced he'll recruit foreign companies to move their manufacturing to the U.S., while Kamala Harris is proposing an idea to reinstate Roe v. Wade. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the latest on the race for the White House.
From a rally in Georgia to the airwaves in Wisconsin, the presidential candidates know how to make headlines.
Under my leadership, we are going to take other countries' jobs. We're going to bring thousands and thousands of businesses and trillions of dollars in wealth back to the good old USA.
If re-elected, Donald Trump says he'll recruit foreign companies to the U.S. under this pitch: lower taxes, lower energy costs, and less regulation. And if a business needs land, they can have that too.
We will set up special zones of federal land. These will be ideal spots for relocating entire industries that we've taken in from other countries.
Trump is staying focused on an issue he leads his opponent on, the economy, whereas Kamala Harris tops Trump on election integrity, health care, and abortion access.
I think we should eliminate the filibuster for Roe, and we need and get us to the point where 51 votes would be what we need to actually put back in law the protections for reproductive freedom.
In a taped interview with Wisconsin Public Radio, the vice president outlined how she thinks Roe v. Wade could become the law of the land again by encouraging the Senate to get rid of a centuries-old procedural roadblock.
What we are talking about is a simple procedure to allow whenever rights are taken away from someone, that the U.S. Senate can, without being blocked by a filibuster, be able to restore those rights.
Trying to close the gap with Donald Trump, Kamala Harris is planning to unveil more of her economic ideas to voters this week. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
President Biden addressed the United Nations General Assembly today for his final time as Commander-in-Chief. The speech comes as the U.S. announced it is sending a small number of additional troops to the Middle East as tensions in the region escalate even further. President Biden said he has not given up on reaching a diplomatic solution. The president also highlighted America's role in defending Ukraine against Russian aggression and his decision to not seek re-election.
As much as I love the job, I love my country more. I decided after 50 years of public service, it's time for a new generation of leadership to take my nation forward. My fellow leaders, let us never forget, some things are more important than staying in power. It's your people.
President Biden is expected to have a one-on-one meeting on the sidelines, but so far a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is not on the schedule. The Federal Aviation Administration told House lawmakers Boeing has a ways to go on its safety overhaul program. FAA Administrator Michael Whitaker testified before a House panel today, the first of 2 days of hearings about the airplane manufacturing giant. Boeing has been under the microscope since a mid-air door plug blowout on an Alaska Airlines flight back in January. Whitaker told the panels Boeing safety culture improvements could take 3 to 5 years. The FAA capped production of the 737 MAX to ensure those changes are made. Up next, Doug returns with your complete forecast. And later, a hurricane watch is in effect along the Gulf Coast, while a state of emergency is called in Florida as it prepares for potential damage from soon-to-be Hurricane Helene.
Well, of course, kind of cool for us today. We didn't see much in the way of sunshine, a lot of clouds and some light showers kind of pushing through, especially during the afternoon into the evening hours. They have been very light, but hey, we'll definitely take whatever we can get. We have been in a moderate to severe drought over the past couple months. Looks good. Downtown Joplin, temperatures, let's go ahead, zoom in. 61 in Cassville, 63 in Bentonville, 64 in Bonita, 63 in Fort Scott. Have had some showers rotate through. We have some light showers as well, which are mainly sitting up across Vernon County over toward Nevada. Bigger thunderstorms, pretty good supercell went through Oklahoma City earlier. Had a nice little wall cloud to it, but mainly just thunderstorms eastern Oklahoma. All we are going to see back here at home, a few little showers, and that is it. Big dome of high pressure. You can see the big circulation. So around it, it pulls in that cooler Canadian air, and that's why we are seeing such nice temperatures instead of record highs like we were approaching and seeing last week. Down to the south, tropical storm Helene, clocking winds at 60. It's going to stay a tropical storm as it kind of skirts Cancun, then a Category 1 hurricane over the next day. But the Gulf of Mexico water is very warm here, so it should intensify to possibly 3 hurricane as it pushes into Florida. And then we're going to watch how far west can this moisture make it. We have an upper level low right now. Here comes our hurricane, and these two are actually going to pivot around each other. So we're going to take this tropical moisture and kind of shove it back into this western low. Now, this low was a little farther west. That would put us in a perfect spot to get some pretty good or beneficial rainfall. Right now, of course, like we've been in this pattern, right on the edge. And that's where we're going to stay as this works in. Look at Friday. Rain advances into southwestern Missouri, puts the brakes on. So we'll have to see, is this 50 miles farther west? Is it right here? But we're going to keep slight chances for rain in on Friday, but it'd be great to get some. So most of the rainfall with Helene will stay central, eastern parts of Missouri, but we may get a little bit in here, but by far the heavier amounts will stay out across south central, southeastern parts of Missouri. We do have a few showers which have been rotating through this evening. These will be gone shortly. We'll start the day with some patchy fog, lower 70s by noon, and we'll get up to about 77, 78 degrees. We'll drop back tomorrow night, lower 50s, and then on Thursday, we warm right back up, right about 77, 78 degrees during the afternoon. Day planner for you on Wednesday, 55 to start. Plenty of sunshine, high temp, 78 degrees, 77 Thursday. Slight chances for rain Friday and Saturday. Looking less likely. We need the rain, but it could shift a little bit farther west. We'll keep our eyes on that.
Yeah, it's all about that hurricane, right? All right, thanks, Doug. Well, Florida is bracing for what could be the nation's hardest hitting hurricane this season, and it comes as residents are still recovering from Storm Francine. Fox's Eben Brown has more from Miami.
Nearly 2 weeks after Francine drenched the southeast, the region is bracing for another major hurricane. A system churning in the Caribbean Sea is expected to strengthen into Hurricane Helene later this week and potentially make landfall along the Florida Panhandle.
Everything popped up overnight, and I think it's going to surprise all of us.
Forecasters say this storm could pummel the state with damaging winds and storm surge as it approaches the coast. People in Florida's Big Bend region are filling up sandbags ahead of potential flooding, but officials there say it is also time to stock up on supplies.
Having your disaster supply kit home, having a way to get warnings and updates, and knowing what your plan is going to be.
Ahead of Helene, Governor Ron DeSantis declared an emergency for dozens of counties in the state. Public works crews have already been deployed to check pumping stations and storm infrastructure as communities brace for several inches of rain.
There's a lot of uncertainty with this storm, but the one thing that is certain is we are going to see some impacts.
Some folks who are still recovering from flooding caused by Hurricane Debbie last month are now bracing for potentially more water damage.
We're talking about moving that stuff from the garage to a storage unit because our garage goes underwater first. So then it's our house if that were to happen again.
Forecasters say Helene could bring strong winds and torrential rainfall to Georgia and the Carolinas on Friday. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern women's golf finishes play in the MIAA conference preview. Plus, Neosho and Joplin square off on the softball diamond. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Neosho High School softball continues the defense of its 2023 Central Ozark Conference Championship on the road this evening. The Lady Wildcats travel to Joplin. It's Teacher Appreciation Night in Joplin. The Lady Eagles host Neosho. Top of the first inning, runner on second, Carly Kennard, drives one to straightaway center. That's gone for a two-run homer. Kennard, the starting pitcher, helps out her own cause, and the Lady Wildcats lead 2-0. Bottom of the first, runner on third, Jaden Pankow hits it sharply into left. That's one of 3 Joplin runs that inning. Next inning, it's Pankow at the plate again. She skies it to shallow right. That'll drop down. Joplin now leads 6-2. We're just in the second inning, but far from finished in that frame. Then Lily Glover knocks this one into the gap in right center field. That's going to roll all the way to the wall. Maria Loom comes in to score. Glover hustles into third with a triple. Neosho scores 4 runs in the 7th inning, but it's not enough. Joplin takes it 11-8. Busy evening for Missouri High School softball. Elsewhere in the Big 8, Monette earns a road win over Seneca 5-1. Cubs have now won 4 of their last 5. Then McDonald County beats Cassville 7-3. That snaps a 3-game losing skid for the Lady Mustangs. They're at home once again tomorrow against Ozark. Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State men's golf both finish up play at the second day of the MSSU Invitational this afternoon. Same is true for Missouri Southern women's golf, who is up in Nebraska. They're at the MIAA Fall Conference preview. Starting on the men's side, here's a look at the leaderboard of the tournament. It features 16 teams. Arkansas Fort Smith takes first, followed by Arkansas Tech, then a 3-way tie for third. Pittsburgh State in 10th. Remember, the Gorillas, they're back in their first year as an NCAA program since 2014. Missouri Southern ties for 13. Individually, Southern and Pitt State each have one golfer inside the top 20 of the field. Ben Markman for the Lions, Carson Towey for the Gorillas. Total of 84 golfers compete in this event over the past 2 days. Pitt State also has Mason White, Keaton Thyssen, each of them inside the top 40. Missouri Southern women's golf, they're up in Kearney, Nebraska, taking part in the MIAA Fall Conference preview. 15 teams participate. Lions finish in 5th as a group. In the final round this afternoon, Central Missouri takes first place with a 9-stroke lead on the rest of the field. Here's the individual leaderboard after the tournament's finished up. Shayla Nordland from Fort Hays State, she wins it at 1 over. Missouri Southern has 3 golfers, though, in the top 20. Marin Harlow leads the way. She's in 7th place, shoots a 2-day total of 6 over par after going 1 over today. Then Major League Baseball, Royals are coming down the stretch of the regular season. Just about 6 games to go, including tonight. They win tonight in D.C., 1-0 the final score in 10 innings. This snaps what was a 7-game losing streak for the Royals, and it coincides with the Twins losing and the Mariners losing. So as we come on the air, Royals have a 1.5 game lead on everybody else for the 3rd wild card spot. So even though they did lose 7 games in a row the last couple of weeks, Royals are still in playoff position tonight.
That's pretty awesome. And I heard you say earlier that every game they have at this point is an important one.
Basically, yeah. You only have 5 left now after tonight.
Wow, season's almost over. All right, thanks, John. We're back with more news after this. It's an exciting time here at KOAM. For months now, our crews have been working behind the scenes in preparation to bring you a whole new way to receive the 4 states' #1 news station. It's our brand new 24-hour streaming service, the KOAM Plus app. And who better to introduce it than our own streaming anchor, Jordan Keys.
I am here in the KOAM Plus Digital Center, where every day we'll be working to share with you live news updates, breaking news, and weather forecasts from the Skywatch weather team. This is my workspace and where a lot of that content starts. And it's all designed to make sure that you can stay up to date with the news and weather in a different, easy way. So what can you get from KOAM Plus? Well, you can get and stay informed. We've overhauled our streaming efforts to bring you top-of-the-hour live updates, breaking news as it happens, and weather every 10 minutes. The free app is the best way to get the news that matters to you on your time 24/7. In addition to streaming our regular morning and evening newscasts for free, you'll get live updates throughout the day with the most up-to-date information on stories that matter to you. The new look of KOAM Plus also has a graphic with live radar information and forecasts for cities around the 4 states anytime you turn it on. You can also see updated headlines of the day scrolling below. One of my favorite parts of the app is the on-demand content. All our videos live here, and you can watch past special reports, in-depth interviews, and exclusive content you can't get anywhere else. And if you don't have a connected TV, don't worry. You can always watch the stream on KOAM Plus anytime. KOAM Plus powers the stream on the KOAM News Now app and on KOAMNewsNow.com. I'm Jordan Keys, KOAM News Now.
And you'll be able to watch the new streaming player on all KOAM digital platforms. Well, a new trailer for director Ridley Scott's epic sequel, Gladiator 2, is released. We'll have that and more in Hollywood Nation. Marvel reveals a first look. The Tony Awards pick a venue and more. Fox's Ashley Dvorkian has all this and more in today's Hollywood Nation.
There are bad guys, and there are worse guys. Thunderbolts team up, The Boss live in Jersey, and the Tonys return to Radio City in today's Hollywood Nation. The Tony Awards will return to Radio City Music Hall in New York City for the 78th annual ceremony, honoring the top shows on Broadway in the 2024 through 2025 season. The Tonys air Sunday, June 8th on CBS and stream on Paramount+. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band have released a live album of their Asbury Park, New Jersey show about a week after the concert. The September 15th quick turnaround of the hometown performance is available on CD and streaming.
Look at you. So adorable.
In today's first looks, a teaser trailer for the Marvel Studios action-packed adventure Thunderbolts debuted. The superstar cast of this unlikely band of misfits teaming up includes Florence Pugh, David Harbour, and Sebastian Stan. The film is in theaters May 2nd, 2025.
Rome has taken everything from me, but I will have my vengeance.
Plus, there's another look at Gladiator 2. A new trailer for director Ridley Scott's epic sequel has been released. The ancient Rome story of power, intrigue, and vengeance stars Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, and Pedro Pascal. It's in theaters November 22nd.
The odds are against you. The odds are always against me.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a tortoise chomping on a watermelon at the Philadelphia Zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.